Good evening and welcome to our Glendale City Council meeting. If you would like to comment on any item that's on the agenda, please fill out a gold speaker card and hand it to the police officer in the back of the room. The mayor will call your name, and when it's your turn to speak, you can make your way to the podium. All speakers have 3 minutes. If you would like to talk about a topic that's not on the agenda, please complete a blue speaker card and give it to the officer in the back of the room. Items that are not on the agenda are heard at the end of the voting meeting. Glendale has 7 city council members: Mayor Jerry Wires, Vice Mayor Ian Hugh of the Cactus District, Councilmember Joyce Clark of the Yucca District, Councilmember Leandro Baldenegro of the Ocotillo District, Councilmember Bart Turner of the Barrel District, Councilmember Ray Malnar of the Saguaro District, and Councilmember Lauren Tolmachoff of the Cholla District. This meeting is streaming live on Glendale's Facebook and YouTube pages and the city's cable television station, Glendale Channel 11. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to Glendale City Council meeting. Can you hear me okay? Because I can't hear. Is that better? Hello?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. It's not me, guys. It's the guys behind you. Anyway, welcome to the City of Glendale Council meeting, September 24th, 2024. This meeting is called to order. I'm not going to call roll call attendance because I see everybody, so if our clerk will take note of that. The next 2 items on the agenda are the invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation is going to be delivered by Tim Lorenz, High Counselor, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Are you here? You are here. Okay, great. He's Glendale, Arizona North Stake. And then, gentlemen, if you're wearing a hat, if it's appropriate, please remove it. And then after the invocation, if everyone would please remain standing, and that'll be for our Pledge of Allegiance. Sir, if you'll come up to the podium.
Dear Father in heaven, how grateful we are to be gathered this evening. We're grateful to participate in these proceedings, the City Council for the City of Glendale. We seek thy blessings upon all of those who participate, that they might have wisdom and discernment in making the decisions for this city and for the people that live here. We are grateful for the laws that protect us and the rights and privileges that we enjoy under this government. Again, bless us with thy Spirit this evening, and these things we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lorenz. Okay, next on the agenda is consideration of the minutes from the September 10th, 2024 voting meeting. Council members, do you have any corrections or additions? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve September 10, 2024 minutes?
Yes, Mayor. I move we approve the minutes of the September 10th, 2024 voting meeting.
I have a motion from the Vice Mayor, a second from Councilmember Clark to approve the minutes. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. There's ayes have it, do have it. That motion carries. Moving on to proclamations and awards. A proclamation is going to be declaring October as Fire Prevention Month. Purpose and recommended action is to proclaim the month of October as Fire Prevention Month and urge all people of Glendale to test their smoke alarms once a month and change the batteries once per year. Michael Young will be coming up, and anyone with him, certainly welcome to come up. I'll meet you at the podium. Okay, so who's receiving this? You are, okay. Okay, so the proclamation, City of Glendale, whereas fire is an extremely serious public safety concern both locally and nationally. And the City of Glendale is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our city, and homes or locations where people are at greatest risk of fire. And whereas according to the National Fire Protection Association, in 2022 there were a total of 1.5 million fires in the U.S., and fire departments responded to a fire every 21 seconds. And whereas in 2022 there were 360,000 home fires that caused 2,710 civilian deaths and 9,940 civilian injuries. And whereas according to the NFPA, smoke alarms reduce the risk of dying in a home fire by more than half, 54% to be exact. And roughly 3 out of 5 fire deaths happens in homes with either no smoke alarms or no working smoke alarms. And whereas Glendale's first responders and a community risk educator are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and education. And whereas the National Fire Protection Association 2024 Fire Prevention Week theme, smoke alarms make them work for you. The campaign works to educate everyone about the importance of having working smoke alarms in their homes. And now therefore I, Jerry P. Wires, Mayor of the City of Glendale, Arizona, on behalf of our City Council, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Fire Prevention Month, and urge all people of Glendale to test their smoke alarms once a month and change the batteries once a year, having working smoke alarms in and outside of every sleeping area, and support the many safety activities and efforts of Glendale's fire and emergency services. That was signed by our clerk and myself. I'll give this to you, and if you'd like to speak, come on up.
I'd like to thank the City of Glendale for this proclamation, and I'm accepting this for all the volunteers at the American Red Cross and the cooperation that we do with the firefighters and crisis response CR 155 here in Glendale when we respond to fires, and the opportunity to install smoke alarms so we don't have to respond to fires. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And before, did you want to speak? Okay, so we have a new face with the city, so come on up and this will be a good time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Weirs and the City Council. Wires, I
Okay.
apologize.
No worries.
Thank you, Mayor Weirs and the City Council
I correct my wife every day, so it's all good.
for recognizing October as Fire Prevention Month. I also want to express my gratitude to the Glendale residents, businesses, and community partners who back this important cause, including the American Red Cross. Their partnership and dedication is truly invaluable. But as Fire Prevention Month approaches, remember these key tips, as Mayor Wires explained. Install your smoke alarms in every sleeping area or bedroom, outside of each of those sleeping areas, such as your hallway, on every level of your home, and that meets the needs of all your family members, including those with sensory and physical disabilities. Test your smoke alarms at least once a month, and replace all smoke alarms that are 10 years old. If you're not sure, check the expiration date. Thank you.
When we stay up in front, we'll get a picture. Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda items 3 through 11. Items on consent agenda are routine nature. They've been previously studied by the City Council at a workshop session. Now, they are intended to be acted upon in one motion by this council. Have we any speaker cards for any consent agenda items?
No, sir.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve consent agenda items 3 through 11?
Yes, Mayor, I move we approve consent agenda items 3 through 11.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Tomachoff, a second from Councilmember Clark to approve the consent agenda items 3 through 11. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Appears the ayes do have it, that motion carries. Ms. Bauer, would you read consent resolution items 12 through 18 by number and title?
Item 12, resolution number R 24-91, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, accepting the 2024 grant award for Proposition 202 grant on behalf of YWCA Metropolitan Phoenix in the amount of $20,000 from the Gila River Indian Community for older adult programming. Item 13, resolution number R 24-92, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing the city manager to enter into a license agreement with Dos Hermanos Pasty Company LLC for use of city right-of-way for downtown outdoor dining located directly adjacent to 5753 West Glendale Avenue. Item 14, resolution number R 24-93, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing the city manager to execute and accept a property use license from Salt River Project Agricultural Improvement and Power District for the intersection located at 53rd Avenue and Camelback Road. Item 15, resolution number R 24-94, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing and directing the entering into of an intergovernmental agreement between the city of Glendale for and on behalf of the Glendale Fire Department and the city's, towns, fire districts, and governmental jurisdictions for Glendale Fire Special Event Staffing. Item 16, resolution number R 24-95, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing the naming of the park at the site formerly named as Glen Lakes Golf Course located at 55th and Northern Avenues as Glen Lakes Park. Item 17, resolution number R 24-96, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing the entering into of a memorandum of understanding with 56 Security Forces Squadron, Luke Air Force Base, Arizona. Item 18, resolution number R 24-97, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing and directing the entering into of an agreement to share costs for the feasibility studies and testing of the 91st Avenue Advanced Water Purification Facility with the city of Phoenix and other various participating entities in an amount not to exceed $195,240, and that concludes the consent resolutions.
Thank you. Have you any speaker cards?
No, sir.
Is there a motion to approve items 12 through 18 consent resolution
Mayor?
agenda?
I move that we approve consent resolutions 12 through 18.
Second.
Yeah, I got a motion from Councilmember Milner, a second from the Vice Mayor to approve items 12 through 18 on the consent resolutions agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Here's you guys have it, that motion carries. Moving on to bids and contracts, item number 19, Ms. Bauer.
Authorization to award RFP 24-62 and enter into a professional services agreement with Hootsuite Inc. for social media management services. There are no speaker cards.
Okay, do we have any questions from the council? No? Okay, can I get a motion to approve item 19?
Mayor, I move to approve item number 19.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Councilmember Baldonegro, a second from Councilmember Thomas for the recommended action. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Councilmember Baldonegro, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Clark, how do you vote?
I will be explaining my vote.
Go ahead.
As is my habit and practice. I will be voting no on this contract and the one following. They are 5-year contracts that allow for no continuity of oversight by City Council when they serve 4 years. In addition, 5-year contracts cannot take into effect market changes. Prices may go up, they may go down, and there's no opportunity to review and adjust them accordingly. Having said that, I vote nay.
Thank you. Councilmember Clark votes nay. Mr. Milner, how do you vote?
Aye.
Your speaker's off, sir.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Tomachoff, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Turner, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That motion carries. Ms. Bauer, would you introduce item 20?
Award of IFB 24-58 and authorization to enter into an agreement with Kept Companies doing business as Fleet Wash Inc. for on-site vehicle and equipment washing services. There are no speaker cards.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
Mayor, I move we award IFB 24-58 and authorize the city manager to enter into the described agreement.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Turner, second from the Vice Mayor to approve the recommended action. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Clark, how do you vote?
Nay.
Councilmember Melner, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Tomachoff, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Turner, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That motion carries. Moving on to land development actions. Ms. Barr, would you introduce item 2-1?
Resolution number R 24-98, a resolution of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the general plan map of the City of Glendale, Arizona by approving general plan amendment GPA 22-09 for property located at the southwest corner of 83rd Avenue and Glendale Avenue. And ordinance number O 24-35, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, rezoning 17 acres located at the southwest corner of 83rd Avenue and Glendale Avenue from R3 Multiple Residence 3 to PAD Planned Area Development for development plan entitled Glendale Recreational Vehicle Resort, amending the zoning map, providing for an effective date, and ordering that a certified copy of the ordinance is recorded. And public hearing is required.
Thank you. Ms. Perry, hold on just a second. Public hearing is now open on item number 21.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can hear you great.
Okay, awesome. Good evening, Mayor and Council. GPA 22-09 and ZON 22-17 is located south of the southwest corner of 83rd and Glendale Avenues. There's two requests before you today or this evening. One is a minor general plan amendment, changing the land use designation from medium density residential at 5 dwelling units to the acre and office to CCC, which is our corporate commerce center. Also, the request is to rezone the site from R3, which allows for multifamily, to PAD, planned area development, which will allow for a mixture of non-residential and residential land uses, and also outline specific development standards. The subject property is approximately 3.3 miles from City Hall. The general plan and the rezoning as it is today would allow for a multifamily development at approximately 272 units. Here is an aerial map that shows the approximately 17 acres, which is surrounded by commercial development to the north, multifamily residential to the east, which is across 83rd Avenue, single-family residential to the south, and to the west is an existing mobile home park. With the various surrounding developments, staff consider this as an infill site for development. Site plan highlights. 2 access points, one along Glendale Avenue for emergency and secondary access, and the single main entrance along 83rd Avenue. To aid with potential traffic concerns, the project will utilize an automatic check-in and check-out service and provide stage or staggered times for check-in. The proposal is for approximately 166 RV spaces on site, to include with each RV space a parking area, 12 by 20 concrete pad for private guest use, 1 tree per space, and sewer connection. Also, there would be a picnic table and seating area every other RV space. The proposal is intended to provide spaces for various types of RVs. The amenities for the subject development is on-site park host office residence, a small convenient market for guests, high-end clubhouse to include large screen television, activities and game rooms with Wi-Fi capabilities, large resort-style swimming pool, a dog park, community kitchen, laundry station, fitness center, multi-use sports court, and tot lots. The applicant completed the citizen participation process with no significant concerns. The Planning Commission heard the case on August the 20th, and there were no speakers. The commission recommended approval with stipulations for the rezoning case, which is outlined in the staff report and the ordinance. And with that, Mayor and Council, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Perry. So I did get a little bit more information. So the current entitlement under R3 is for a height of 36 feet. Is that correct?
Mayor and Council, if I heard you correctly, you're asking about the maximum height?
On the current zoning under R3, the maximum height.
The maximum height is 36 feet.
Okay. And I'm looking at I got to make this bigger. It's too small. Total of 166 sites, and then 27 additional parking stalls. That's like for guest parking, or what is that?
Mayor and Council, that is correct.
And what is that around the clubhouse? These all look like pull through. I'm just trying to understand the drawing. I think that's them, yeah.
Apologize here. The guest parking is throughout.
Okay. I guess I just was trying to identify it. Okay, I understand, and I read the reports, and that the neighborhood meetings, there was not a lot of concern from the neighbors. That's one of the things that I wanted to make sure of. But what about the lighting and noise and things like that? And then how are you going to, I know I was speaking with the developer, the attorneys that are working the case. How are they going to, what kind of clientele are they going to be trying to attract here? And how are they going to attack the clientele that's going to, not create a disturbance for the neighborhood that is literally like right behind here?
Mayor and Council, it may be best if the applicant can speak to that, but I would just identify is that they would have to comply with our codes as it relates to noise and lighting. If there was an issue that was reported to code, then they would have to go out to the site. But relative to the type of clientele they will market, I think it's best that the applicant speaks to that.
Okay, I do have a city question before you step aside then, if they want to just give me a little more information. Does the city generate any revenue off of this? How would the city generate any revenue off of this? Sales tax? I'm just not sure.
Mayor and Council, there is a clubhouse, so you have the construction cost that comes along with the clubhouse. And then there are some level of rental rates. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong side. Sorry, here, 1 second.
Okay, why don't you let me go ahead and speak to what I know about, and then if I'm wrong, then then you can come up and correct me. How's that?
Oh, okay.
So what this is something that I experienced myself several years ago when a friend of mine asked me to take my fifth wheel trailer, and he was taking his motorhome. We were going to Yuma for a big show. It was a weekend. And we went ahead and booked spaces at an RV resort. It was a high-dollar RV resort, which is what they're planning here. We went there, got our hookups, backed the trailer in, he backed his motorhome in, and we went out and enjoyed the town, used the restaurants, went grocery shopping, went to the shows that were going on that weekend. We were finished, we came back, slept, got up the next day, went over to the clubhouse, had a drink, enjoyed the day, and the next morning we hooked up and came back. And that's what they're doing here. What the owners had told me a couple of years ago when they first thought of this idea is there's nowhere near anywhere Glendale's entertainment center for snowbirds for people to come to Glendale that don't want to go to a motel or a hotel, that want to come out, maybe stay here for 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, where they can be real close to all the shows, to all the events that we're doing, the sports, at the same time have their own personal stuff where they don't have to worry about somebody cleaning it every day like you would a hotel or a motel. I like the concept. Councilmember Clark and I both met with them. Councilmember Clark proposed a whole bunch of concerns that she had. I think they addressed probably every one of them. And I think that they've got a really remarkable product here that, short of going over to Mesa, I don't know where else to go to get the same thing. There's nothing like this that I'm aware of anywhere in the West Valley. And it's a way that we can keep people here. They can enjoy the shopping, the entertainment, spend their money in Glendale, and at the same time, come late March, May, they're going home.
So thank you for that, Mayor. Does it generate any tax revenue, direct tax revenue off of the rent or anything else that's happening on site?
Mayor and council, if there's someone that's going to lease a space that is less than 30 days, it's that transit tax rate that would be applied. And then, as you know, that for the long-term rental, for the rental rate, that would no longer be in effect after January the 1st of 2025. So we would be able to collect from the county and the state 7.27%. And then for the city is 7.9%. And once again, that's based on leasing the space for less than 30 days.
Okay, which I would imagine that's a lot of rentals are that short duration.
They're all over.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Did you need to come up and correct anything I just said? You good? Okay, Councilmember Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. This is in my district, and I feel that I need to speak to this because all of a sudden I heard from several Yucca district residents who are surprised to find out that an RV resort is going on this location. Over a year ago, it was probably more than a year ago, the property owners' representatives came to the mayor and I and made this proposal. Now, you have to understand that the property owner had the right to put apartments here. And if there's nothing that makes my district residents unhappy, it's apartments, especially along that 83rd Avenue corridor. So when they proposed an upscale RV resort, I went along with it. But I did present the owner's representatives a list, probably a 2-page list of those features that make an RV resort upscale. And I have to say, in working with the representatives over the past year, the property owners have acceded and agreed to every stipulation that I asked for to ensure that this would be an upscale RV resort. It is also their intention to rent for 30 days or less. This is not designed to be primarily a long-term rental RV resort so that you have trailers semi-parked there for 6 months or a year. This is designed to turn over RV visitors in short order. There will also be a mini grocery store on site where the people who are parking in these spaces can go to that mini grocery store to stock up on things, and one of the things they will stock up on is propane. So you will see propane sales and sales of general grocery merchandise on this site. I think in terms of what could be there, this is probably a better alternative than apartments. Most of these sites will have trees. So what you will see is primarily a sea of trees, especially when they mature. So given all that, it has earned my support, and I will be supporting this proposal tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions? Okay, Ms. Perry.
Mayor, that concludes the presentation.
Okay, anyone else need to speak? If not, public Over. Okay, we're not voting, correct?
Mayor, Council, it does require a vote for the resolution and a separate vote for the
And an
ordinance.
ordinance.
Okay,
I'll be happy to make the motion.
we're fine, go ahead.
Mayor, I move that we pass and adopt resolution number R24-98.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Clark, a second from the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Hearing none. Does this need to be a roll call?
Mayor, council members, yes, please.
It does need to be a roll call. Okay. Mr. Baldenegger, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Ms. Tomachoff, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Clark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Melner, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's unanimous. Okay,
Mayor,
next.
I then move that we pass ordinance number 024-35.
Second.
Okay, a motion again from Councilmember Clark, second from Councilmember Tomachoff. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mr. Baldenegger, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Tomachoff, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Clark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Turner, how do you vote?
I'd like to explain my vote, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I had some initial concerns when I saw this. It's not something we would normally have come across. I haven't seen anything like this in 10 years, and I'm always concerned about the quality of the work that we have done in Glendale. But in reviewing this, just so that people understand, existing zoning on the site would allow 272 apartments, and it appears they would be able to be at least 2, if not 3 stories tall. And this site does abut a local an adjacent single-family residential neighborhood, and that friction is always problematic. And the other item is that with the reduction in spaces from the 272 apartments to 166 spaces, that would be significantly less traffic on those streets and in that intersection, and traffic out there is something that we always hear about as well. And then in looking over the site plan, I was very impressed with the layout and especially the number of trees that they're incorporating into this development. And I, for one, believe that if Glendale needs more trees, and the type they've selected is a good variety for here. And so I think this actually will turn out to be a good product, and it provides a variety that we don't have out there and we don't have elsewhere. And there is a market, I believe, for this. So with that, I vote aye.
Thank you. Mr. Melner, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion carries unanimous. Ms. Power, would you introduce item 22?
Resolution number R24-99, a resolution of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the general plan map of the City of Glendale, Arizona by approving general plan amendment GPA 22-08 for property located west of the southwest corner of 83rd Avenue and Glendale Avenue. Ordinance number O24-36, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, rezoning property located west of the southwest corner of 83rd Avenue and Glendale Avenue from R3 Multiple Residence 3 to R3 MH Multiple Residence 3 Mobile Manufactured Home Overlay for a project entitled Shamrock Mobile Home Overlay Extension, amending the zoning map, providing for an effective date, and ordering that a certified copy of the ordinance is recorded. Public hearing required.
Okay. Public hearing is now open on item number 22.
Mayor and council, the subject site is approximately 6 acres in size and is located west of the southwest corner of 83rd and Glendale Avenues. Once again, there's 2 requests before you. One, to amend the general plan land use designation from a MDR5 to MHDR12. So that would be 12 dwelling units to the acre. And then rezoning the site from R3 to R3MH to allow for that mobile home overlay district. The subject property is approximately 3.3 miles west of City Hall. Okay. Once again, the general plan proposal and the rezoning proposal will support the proposal to expand the existing mobile home park. The subject property is surrounded by a church to the north. To the west and south is single-family residential, and to the east is the existing Shamrock Mobile Home Park. The site plan, once again, some of those details is the subject property is 6 acres in size. The applicant is proposing an additional of 58 additional spaces. Each space would be a minimum of 3,000 square feet in size. The applicant is proposing a 20-foot landscaping buffer to buffer the surrounding single-family residential. To the north, south, and west, there is a walk-in path, and then the proposal will need to comply with the development standards for a mobile home park as outlined within the UDC Unified Development Code. The applicant is proposing adequate open space to expand upon the existing mobile home park for approximately 30% of open space. This item was heard before Planning Commission in August, and there was no speakers. Planning Commission recommended approval for the general plan as written, as well as approval for the rezoning with the stipulations that's outlined within the staff report and the ordinance. With that, Mayor and Council, that concludes the presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mayor, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
Probably the only overriding reason why I'm supporting this is not because I want to see a bigger trailer park, but if you've driven by the entryway on Glendale Avenue, just west of 83rd Avenue, it's really the pits. And the property owner has promised to clean up that whole front facade, open space, landscaping, and make it look really nice for a change. So I hope that everyone will support this as well. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, anyone else? Okay, okay, we
Mayor?
need to have.
Mayor, I did have a question.
Go ahead.
Is that a stipulation? One of the entry feature? Was that a stipulation?
As far as what Joyce had talked about?
Yeah. I just didn't see
I don't
it.
believe it was a stipulation, but they want to make it nice, and they've been very clear about it.
Okay.
Mayor, Council, it's within the PAD narrative.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so we're going to close public hearing. And we're going to do a roll call vote. Mr. Baldenegro?
We need to have a motion first, Mayor.
I need a motion first.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I move that we approve Resolution R2499 to amend the general plan.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Melner, a second from Councilmember Tomachoff. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Baldenegro, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Tomachoff, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Clark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Turner, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Melner, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, that motion carries. And then do we need to have a separate public hearing on the next portion, or is that all combined?
Mayor and Council, the presentation was combined, but you do need to take separate votes.
But not a separate, okay, not a separate public hearing. Okay, so we need a motion for the second portion.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I move that we approve ordinance 24-36 to rezone the property discussed.
Second.
Okay, a motion from Councilmember Melner, a second from Councilmember Tomachoff again? No, Councilmember Clark. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Mr. Baldenegro?
Aye.
Councilmember Tomachoff?
Aye.
Councilmember Clark? How do you vote? Councilmember Clark?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Turner?
Aye.
Councilmember Melner?
Aye.
Councilmember Hugh?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The motion carries unanimous. Okay. Moving on to item 23.
Resolution number 24-100, a resolution of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the general plan map of the City of Glendale, Arizona by approving General Plan Amendment GPA 23-05 for property located at the northwest corner of Glendale Avenue and 99th Avenue. Ordinance number O24-37, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, rezoning 19 acres located at the northwest corner of Glendale Avenue and 99th Avenue from PAD Planned Area Development to PAD Planned Area Development for a development plan entitled Westgate Mixed Use Development, amending the zoning map, providing for an effective date, and ordering that a certified copy of the ordinance is recorded, public hearing required.
Okay, public hearing is now open on item number 23.
Mayor and Council, this is to request this again. One is to amend the general plan land use designation, changing it from planned commercial and business park to EMU, which is our entertainment mixed use. And the second request is to rezone the property from planned area development to planned area development. Basically, the subject property will be creating its own PAD. The subject property is approximately 5 miles west of City Hall, and it's located north of the northwest corner of 99th Avenue and Glendale Avenue. Here's the general plan. Once again, the proposal is just for the general land use designation to be consistent with the proposed PAD to allow for a mixture of land uses consisting of residential and non-residential land uses. Here's an area map depicting the subject property. To the north is the medical center. To the south is commercial and office. To the east is the Glendale Park and Ride. And to the west is additional multifamily development. Here is the conceptual site plan. Basically what the applicant is proposing. Phase 1 is for a multifamily development comprising of 239 units. Phase 2 comprising of 218 units for a total of 457 units. And in addition to that, a 13,000 square foot commercial retail building. The multifamily is restricted by stipulation for a minimum of 4 stories with a maximum height of 56 feet. There is 2 access points on 99th Avenue and 1 on Myrtle Avenue and 1 additional access point on Glendale Avenue. The subject applications was heard before Planning Commission in August. There was no speakers in opposition. Planning Commission recommended approval of the general plan amendment as well as the rezoning application with the listed stipulations. With that, Mayor and Council, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions from the council? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Perry. It looks to me, at least based on the site plan, are they intending to extend Myrtle Avenue a little bit further west? Or is that just the way it's drawn? And is there any plan when this development's happening to extend Myrtle Avenue over to whatever that street is that goes behind St. Joseph's Westgate? That, is it Desert River Boulevard? Okay. Seems kind of, you know, like we might be missing an opportunity there to connect that road.
Mayor and Council, provided the applications are approved this evening, the applicant will go through the design review process, and during that time, we will work with the Transportation Department to truly evaluate any improvements that are needed.
Okay, because 99th Avenue gets quite busy, and that's another point of access. I don't know whether the hospital would like it, but Myrtle dead ends. I don't even know how developed that road even is. I don't think it's really usable. It's not really usable. So there will need to be some road work on Myrtle, because that's going to be one of the, at least based on the drawing, it looks like is it one of the primary access points off of Myrtle?
Mayor and Council, that is correct. Also, within the staff report and the rezoning ordinance, it speaks to stipulations. So we're specifically talking about Myrtle Avenue right now. The development would need to dedicate 35 feet of right-of-way measured from the center line to the right-of-way line along Myrtle Avenue, with half-street improvements shall be completed prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy for any development on the property. So based on their traffic study, there are stipulations to do improvements along Myrtle Avenue as well as, let's go through this, 99th Avenue. And then there will be an improvement for installation of a right turn lane for southbound traffic on 99th Avenue at Access D, which is within the traffic study report per approved TIS date stamped May 22nd, 2024.
Thank you. I don't know, is that Desert Boulevard? Is that a city road?
Mayor, Council, it is.
Because I mean, it seems like, especially on game day, for people to be able to avoid going towards the stadium, if they could go west on Myrtle and then around behind the hospital. But I'm just curious. I was just curious because Myrtle, I've never even noticed Myrtle when I drive down 99th Avenue, that there isn't even a Myrtle there right now. So, thank you.
Mayor, if I could.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Desert River Boulevard is no boulevard. It's basically barely a road. So I think connecting Myrtle to Desert River Boulevard is not such a good idea at this point in time. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. There are no other questions from the council. We have no speaker cards.
No, sir.
Okay, anyone else needing to speak on this item or wanting to speak on this item? Okay, so we can close the public meeting. We do need a separate vote on this, correct?
Mayor, that is correct.
Can I get a motion?
Mayor, I move we approve resolution number R24-100, which approves general plan amendment GPA 23-05 for the Glendale general plan.
Second.
Okay, you have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, starting with Mr. Baldenegger. How do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Tomachoff, how do you vote? Councilmember Clark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Turner, how do you
Aye.
vote? Mr. Melner?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, the motion carries. Okay, moving on to item 24, ordinance 024-38, is that correct?
No,
need
sir.
to do
We
the
need
ordinance.
a motion on
Ordinance.
O24-37.
Mayor, I move we adopt ordinance number O24-37, rezoning the 19 acres on the northwest corner of Glendale Avenue and 99th Avenue.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none. You do need a roll call vote on this? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Baldenegger, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Tomachoff?
Aye.
Councilmember Clark?
Aye.
Councilmember Turner?
Aye.
Councilmember Melner?
Aye.
Mr. Hugh?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, the motion carries. Okay. Now we can go to item number 24.
Ordinance number O24-38, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, amending the 75th and Glendale Retail Center planned area development for 7.46 acres located at the southeast corner of 75th Avenue and Glendale Avenue, amending the zoning map, providing for an effective date, and ordering that a certified copy of the ordinance is recorded. Public hearing required.
Public hearing is now open on item number 24.
Mayor and Council, the existing property is located southeast corner of 75th Avenue and Glendale Avenue, and it's approximately 7.46 acres in size. Council actually approved the PAD in September of 2021. And within that PAD, there was a development standard that required that development that is adjacent to single-family residential would be developed with a 8-foot screen wall. The outcome of that is that the developer who's trying to develop for a Goodwill Center worked extremely hard to work with the adjacent single-family residential subdivision to either build upon the existing wall or to remove the existing 6-foot wall and replace it with an 8-foot wall. And all the efforts in which the applicant had taken with citizen participation process, actually doing door knocking to the adjacent single-family residentials that would be abutting this property. The outcome is that they could not reach an agreement in how to actually to meet the development standard to increase the existing 6-foot wall to an 8-foot wall. And that's the amendment that is before you today. Okay. So once again, the applicant is requesting to remove the requirement requiring an 8-foot wall, and then they're actually going to, the existing 6-foot wall will remain, and then they will do enhanced landscaping with some trees to provide additional buffering and privacy. Okay. The subject property is approximately 1.9 miles west of City Hall. The zoning, once again, is planned area development. The PAD actually has 5 commercial pads. All the pads are developed with the exception of this one remaining pad that once again is being constructed for a Goodwill Center located at the southeast corner of the retail center. Okay. Here's an area map just depicting the subject area. To the east and the south is the subdivisions in which I'm referencing. To the north is commercial uses, and to the east is apartment complex. Okay. Here's a site plan that basically shows the subject property for the pad located at the southeast corner of the retail center. Here's a landscape that depicts the numerous of efforts that the applicant undertook to give enhanced landscaping to provide that additional screening to the single-family residential to kind of buffer, once again, any noise or privacy for the single-family residential homes. The application was heard before Planning Commission in August. There were no oppositions. Planning Commission provided a recommendation for approval. And with that, Mayor and Council, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'd like you to explain it because I don't know if I caught it. They want to remove the 8-foot requirement of a wall separating their property from the homes to the east and to the south.
Mayor, that is correct.
For what reason?
So, because currently when the subdivisions were developed, their requirement was to erect a 6-foot wall. So per the zoning ordinance at the time, the applicant wrote within their PAD that council approved that they would erect an 8-foot wall. So that means the existing 6-foot wall that's part of the subdivisions would either need to be built upon, or they would need to erect a new 8-foot wall and demolish the existing 6-foot wall. The applicant could not reach a resolution with the property owners and the HOA to be able to comply with the requirement of an 8-foot wall.
Okay, I hold on. I don't know the politics going on there, but I can tell you, if I was the homeowners living currently there right now, I would want an 8-foot wall separating me. I absolutely would. So if there's a requirement for that, I personally would like to see that. Do you know something?
Well, that's what I want to comment on. I was never contacted by the applicant or anyone about this situation. I don't know anything about it. I don't know why the applicant, other than they couldn't come to resolution, which is very fuzzy to me, why they couldn't come to resolution and build the 8-foot wall. I'm not going to support this. The stipulation is for an 8-foot wall. I would like the applicant to go back and work it out with the citizens, the residents, and figure out how to put that 8-foot wall in. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, good.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm reading the staff report, and it says the applicant communicated with the adjacent residential subdivision homeowners association, proposing adding 2 additional feet to their existing block wall. That's completely different than building an 8-foot wall. and the wall's old and wouldn't, you know,
That's
an engineer said it wouldn't work. But that doesn't mean that they didn't want the wall. They just don't want to, I think they just don't want to, I don't know. The staff report is causing even more confusion for me on exactly what's going on here. So,
Yeah.
So, Mayor and Council, sometimes what happens is, in addition to what you just mentioned, Councilwoman Tomachov, is that the inconvenience of the second option was to erect the 8-foot wall and then turn around, like I said, indicated, and demolish the existing 6-foot wall. And then the third option that we work with the applicants with is to see if it's possible for them to maintain the 6-foot wall, the existing 6-foot wall, and then construct an 8-foot wall, and then provide a cap on the tops and the ends. Now, from that perspective, from an engineering standpoint, it seems as if the applicant was running into some challenges with being able to erect the 8-foot wall and cap it with the existing 6-foot wall. So at that point, staff had provided every option that we could provide, because those are the 3 that we provided. We did require the applicant to go back out a couple of times to try to work with the HOA and the homeowners that's going to be abutting this property line. And at that point, the applicant, as it is his or her right, wanted to come before Planning Commission and City Council for an action on the amended PAD.
Mayor? So I guess, do I understand it correctly that basically they didn't want to create essentially an alley between the 6-foot wall and the 8-foot wall? Is that what do I understand that right?
Mayor and Council, so if if there's a large gap between the two, then it kind of becomes a little bit more of a challenge to provide that cap to where it can be stable. Because remind you, one wall is 6 foot tall, the other one is 8, and depending on how much of a gap it is, you have to make sure the weight of that cap can withstand.
Yeah, if I could, because I don't understand this. We're making something very simple very difficult. My property, the homes behind me that were recently built, we had a fence, and all my neighbors all had a shared fence. The developer came in, they put temporary fencing on my property, tore the old fence down, put an 8-foot wall up, took the temporary fencing down. I got a nice wall, my neighbor's got a nice wall, and there's no gap. I don't understand what the confusion is. Pretty simple. Well, hold on, Mr. Baldonegro.
In your report, you mentioned it was initiated in 2021.
Mayor Council, the original PAD was approved by council in September of 2021.
And do you know when they started talking to the homeowner association and the residents roughly?
Mayor and Council, I cannot give you an exact date, but it was after the other commercial pads mostly were developed, or they were under construction.
And I'm wondering if that had anything to do with the date, because of if it had to do with, like, I mean, everybody was worried about the pandemic. They didn't want to answer the door. I don't want any strangers coming and talking to me. And I'm wondering if the timing of it wasn't necessarily part of this conversation, that they were like, no, we don't want people we don't know working in our backyard and so forth. And maybe that has changed since then. I'm just thinking out loud on that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
It's your district. You go first.
Okay. I experienced the same thing you did when the subdivision in the north came in. They put up an 8-foot wall for us as well. And I know of another instance. 79th Lane has all large lot properties, and there is a plan to build a subdivision just to the west of them. They are putting in the very thing that you're frowning about, which is a 2-wall system. The existing property owners are going to keep their 6-foot wall, and they're going to put in an 8-foot wall a couple of feet away, but they're gating both ends of that gap. So there are solutions to this. I just don't think the applicant wanted to go there, quite frankly, and put up the 8-foot wall. And so Again, I'm not going to support this.
Thank you, Mayor. That's what I was going to say. But essentially, the way I see it anyway is the applicant has two options. They can either demolish the 6-foot wall and replace it with an 8-foot wall, or they can move the 8-foot wall a little further onto their property line so that there's an acceptable distance between the two walls, and then either gate it, landscape it, or whatever. But though I see that as the two options that they have. And I support Councilmember Clark in saying this is what we told the neighborhood we were going to ask them to do, and taking that stipulation away, I'm going to support her on not agreeing to it. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, I still don't understand. You don't need 2 feet in between two walls. You could literally put them 2 inches apart. I mean, you really could. But it's harder, it's quicker, easier, safer, and a better fence that you could probably get warranted better if you tore the old one down. I guess I would not like to see this thing come to a vote. Either table it, or are the people here to speak on it, the developer? I mean, if they can add something to this, but right now I don't see this thing moving forward until we can do something different. And I'm only guessing. I haven't taken votes.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Pull the microphone real close to you.
Yep.
You just grab it and pull it down. There you go.
Thank you so much for opportunity to speak on this topic. I wanted to clarify the requirement of the gap between two walls. The footing of the existing 6-foot wall from the HOA shadow run abutting the subject property was encroaching onto the commercial development property, so it was at least 24 feet apart from some of the footing that we had to have a 2-foot gap between two walls, and also the HOA finished floor elevation is lower than the commercial property lot, so from the commercial side, it lays higher in the elevation from the standpoint that we're looking at. And also we specifically conducted the structural investigation with engineering team to estimate whether the cap will be possible on existing wall, capping the new 8-foot wall towards the 6-foot existing residential wall, and also provided acoustical study estimating what impacts would be and how we can mitigate all of the requirements and how we can accommodate. So acoustical study identified that new 6-foot wall will definitely provide the buffer, but we come up with a new solution that will not only work with our case and our challenges with footing encroaching on our land and existing wall being not high enough with the new requirements. An acoustical engineer confirmed that adding the 2 feet on the Goodwill, which is the subject that discussed today, Goodwill loading dock, will prevent enough acoustical buffer in conjunction of the new landscaping that is an additional row of tree for that subject property. We also reached out to same HOA and received the formal letter requesting the developer not to erect new 8-foot wall because they wanted to keep existing 6-foot, and they prefer landscaping versus the wall-to-wall situation that we're facing right now. So we as a developer did all the possible due diligence to ensure that we will be good neighbors, as we wanted to salvage the relationship, as we know that those residents from the shadow run will be using the retail shopping center, will be going to those commercial facilities for their use, and we decided to accommodate their request to keep their existing 6-foot wall, provide additional 2 rows of trees, which are, I believe, 24-inch box at the start once we will be submitting for inspections. So they're mature trees with very dense branches to ensure that not only visual, acoustical, and also however HOA requested will be accommodated, and that what was presented in front of Planning Commission that was approved by Commission in August, like Ms. Berry mentioned.
Okay, I think I understood about a third of what you said.
Yeah.
So the HOA does not want a taller wall. They're happy with the original wall they have. What about the individual homeowners?
We went door to door. I personally was around this 21 houses abutting our property. We knocked on every door. We asked every property owner. I would say roughly 85% are renters and not property owners. So we sent mailers. Hardly ever got any responses. Only when HOA initiated this subject on one of their meetings, almost everybody said that they don't want new wall. And then I believe city staff had another reach out for all of the participants and asked from the city standpoint if they would not like to have that wall-to-wall situation. And there wasn't any objections to that proposal.
Mayor?
Yeah.
I would like to table this and then arrange a meeting with you and the homeowners and the property owners so that I can hear for myself exactly what's going on. Then if I'm comfortable that they do indeed, they will be satisfied with the double row of trees, then we can move it forward. But I'm only hearing from one side of this equation. So I would ask that we consider tabling it.
Yeah, you know, my thoughts coming from multiple different directions and then just being around for a while. I owned a small home that my daughter lived in, and directly behind her home was a Safeway. And I'll guarantee you it didn't take much for that Safeway truck to back into that dock at 3 in the morning for them to hear it. They had a 6-foot fence. They also had kids from Safeway jumping their fence into their backyard. So to me, I see a lot of problems that we're not addressing that I think we're going to have to address later down the road. I'd rather fix this right the first. I do support your thought. Do you have a question?
I do, Mayor. Well, I just wanted to say that the letter's 2 years old from the HOA that's in here. It's from 2 years ago. So I mean, people move, HOA boards change, sometimes people change their position. So I agree with that we would need to make sure that this is the position of the HOA. And I was going to ask if everybody thought, I mean, I'd be happy to make a motion to table at date certain for October 8th, if you think that's 2 weeks is enough time. If
Well,
that's
How about the end of October?
okay.
Well, before we do that, though, can you get the information, get a meeting put together where we can get that information within the next voting meeting?
Yeah.
What I don't want to do is slow them down to the point to where it hurts them also.
I agree.
So
Okay.
if you want to make a motion that we bring this back in 2 weeks,
Okay.
and before then we get a chance to talk with them, whether you meet with us individually or a couple of us go out to the site and look at, however you guys want to put that together. But I would
Okay.
suggest maybe you work through Councilmember Clark.
I'd be happy to make the motion. I just want to clarify, table it to date certain to October 8th
Yeah, hold on
or
one
to
second.
October 22nd.
Hold on one second.
Mayor, I'd just like to say that for the record, we need to get the name and city of the speaker, the woman who's speaking.
Yeah, I guess that would, give us your name, who you represent, what city you live in.
Absolutely. Maria Grishina, Simon
Hey,
Seri.
you really need to talk loud for us.
Sorry about that. Maria Grishina, Simon Seri, representing the developer. 6900 East 2nd Street, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Scottsdale, okay. Okay, and yours?
If we're ready, I'll make
2
the
weeks
motion.
from now?
If is that enough time?
Our next voting meeting, let's put it that way.
That's
She said it was.
okay.
Okay.
All right, Mayor, I move that we table ordinance number 024-38 to date certain the October 8th City Council meeting.
Mayor, Council, I
Mayor.
apologize. The applicant is asking just for certainty, can we table it to date specific being, I think it's the October 22nd? Is that the meeting? Just to ensure she has enough time to do the due diligence.
Okay, Mr. Gruber, should I withdraw that motion and redo it?
Mayor, Council, Councilmember Tolmanshoff, just in the interest of clarity, yes, I'd suggest
All
withdrawing
right,
the
I
motion.
withdraw the motion to table ordinance 024-38 to date certain October 8th, and I move to table ordinance 024-38 to date certain October 22nd council meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, vote nay. Here, you guys have it. Do have it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council comments and suggestions. Mr. Baldonegro.
Yes, I'd like to thank everyone who was able to come to Ocotillo District meeting last week. It was one we haven't had in many years. All the departments were there helping out, other entities. Business owners came and residents. A lot of really good. I got a lot of good feedback. We got some honest feedback of how we can make it better. We're looking forward to doing it better next time, so I can make Councilmember Clark very proud of me. That's what's most important. Thank you.
Councilmember Clark.
Nothing, Mayor.
Make Mr. Baldwin-Negro proud of you. Councilmember Melner.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilmember Tomchoff.
Yes, Mayor, I do have an announcement. I, and along with Councilmember Melner, will be hosting a public meeting on October 10th to explain 2 propositions that are on the going to be on the ballots that are going to be hitting mailboxes soon. We're going to be presenting Prop 479, which is the extension of the half-cent Maricopa County sales tax. It expiring in 2025, so that would be Prop 479, and then Prop 499, which is being called the Worker Power Initiative. It's a minimum wage. There's a lot involved. I'm not going to get into it all right now, but that will be also presented that night to make sure that residents are fully informed before they fill out their ballots. So again, October 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Foothills Recreation and Aquatic Center. All welcome. Thank you.
Councilmember Turner.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Nothing, Mayor.
Okay, and I don't have anything at this point. Citizens' comments are next. Make the opportunity available to our citizens to bring information business. It's not on our printed agenda. We got, looks like 4 speakers. So I'm going to start with Rory Guree. I don't know if I said your last name right. If I said it wrong, please correct me. If you would, state your name, the city you're from, if you know it. The district, state that, but we don't need your address, sir.
Mr. Mayor, it's Rory Guree.
Okay.
Rory Guree, Ocotillo District, Mayor, Council. This, just wanted to talk a little for a few minutes about the Velma Teague Library. Citizens really do not trust you guys. We're told that there's going to be, you're going to listen to the public, but yet there's these comments posted online on a public forum by a current council member. I'd like to read it to you. There are several things that the general public does not know, but just to fill people in, the library will not disappear. It is being moved to another location still in downtown. My question is, when did you guys vote on moving the library? Are you guys doing this behind the scenes in executive session or meeting, the majority of you guys meeting and discussing your vote? The people do not want that. If you had been last Wednesday and there was not a single council member at the library meeting, the public does not want it moved. When we said we want our park, we didn't mean rip down the building. We meant we don't want that big honking thing, gazebo or theater you're going to put there. No, we wanted our park. We wanted things left alone. We do not trust you. And when things like this are happening online, when we see this, we really question. That was said today in the workshop, that when the Arizona law says something, you have to obey it. Well, let me tell you what. Executive session and open meeting law, they're laws. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up would be Frank Steele. If you would, sir, state your name, the district you live in.
Frank Steele, and I live in the Cactus District.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I'm a longtime resident of Glendale, and I'm also the Republican chairman of the Legislative District 24, which is right here in Glendale. And I will take a little time to talk about Prop 499, and hopefully it's recorded and it's online here. Having owned several businesses, I know how the best of intentions by outsiders can go awry. Many labor leaders and others fancy themselves as the people's champion, but they are the kings and queens of unintended consequences. This new law isn't just bad for business owners if it gets passed. It's bad for the city, the guests of Glendale, and the real victim are the employees. I'll do some real quick math here to illustrate how much this harms workers. For larger hotels, the cleaning staff typically clean 10,000 square feet apiece in an 8-hour period. That's between 28 and 30 rooms if it's a hotel, at an average of a little over 17 minutes per room. However, this new law tries to tell people how much they can work and what they can do, and they want to limit that to 3,500 feet, or around 10 rooms. So if they go over that amount, the property has to pay not just time and a half, but double, $40 an hour. That's $16 more an hour than we pay our own mayor. I know what I would do if I was the business owner. After the staff member had cleaned 10 rooms or 3,500 square feet, which should take about 3 hours, I would send them home. Bring in another shift. Now, as the property owner, it would be a burden to me to have to hire twice the crew. But the people hurt the most by this are the staff. Instead of earning $15 or maybe $16 an hour for 30 to 40 hours a week with one employer, they'll make $20 an hour, but they'll only get scheduled for 15 hours in a week. They would have to take a second job to make as much or more than they do now. And if they already have 2 jobs, they may have to take a third and try to juggle their schedule across 3 employers. This is a bad idea all around, and I hope it doesn't pass. This increases hotel expenses. This increases the hotel rates. The employees lose money and time with their families. And if they have an employer benefit, they may lose those as well, since they aren't working for one full-time employer anymore. If this passes, I will certainly devote my time to getting another ballot initiative passed to remove this silliness. To anyone who thinks this is a good idea, I have one thing to say. Don't California my Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tom Traw.
Tom Traw in the Yucca District since 1977. I love Glendale. First of all, I want to thank the council and the mayor for voting unanimously for the RV resort. So much better than apartments. We've got plenty of traffic on 83rd Avenue. Plenty. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was I listened to the workshop. The wife and I were listening to the workshop yesterday. And we heard something about Proposition 499. And I'll tell you what, that was the most confusing thing that I've ever heard in my life. And the interesting thing about it was that Joyce Clark, Councilman Clark, and Councilman Tomachoff both said the same thing. I'm confused. We don't need any more rules and regulations and government interference with people doing business in this city. We don't want to run people off. We don't want to close stores down. So forget it. And it's on the ballot, believe it or not. So it's up to us to vote this thing down. When I saw that employers were going to be fined $1,000 a day if their employees did something wrong, not the employee, but the employers, $1,000 a day. No, we do not need any more government interference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Traw. And finally, Ms. Guzman.
Good evening, Mayor Wires, council members, and residents of Glendale. I am Councilmember-elect Diana Guzman, and I will be representing the Yucca District here in Glendale. I feel it is my responsibility to speak out on issues that will shape the future of our community. One such issue is Proposition 499, the so-called Hotel and Event Center Minimum Wage and Wage Protection Act, which will be on the upcoming ballot on November 5th. I stand before you today extremely concerned about Proposition 499. This is a very damaging measure for the city of Glendale, and we must encourage all Glendale residents to vote no on this initiative. Why? I will tell you why. This initiative will establish a wage and excessive working condition law on publicly or privately owned event centers and businesses. Essentially, it will artificially force local businesses to pay a significant increase in salaries for hotel and event center workers, and could force employers to pay significant annual increases. This short-sighted measure would mandate what our local Glendale businesses must pay in overtime and will restrict an employee's ability to work voluntarily overtime. And it will be mandatory for local businesses to try to comply with yet another layer of confusing government regulation aimed at penalizing employers. Proposition 499 will also mandate a new taxpayer-funded Department of Labor standards aimed at harassing local businesses. Please understand, Proposition 499 does not include a dedicated funding source to cover these extreme costs. The city estimates the initial cost of opening a Department of Labor standards to be $176,802. And that's just for the software, the computers, vehicles, and office supplies. The ongoing annual cost to the city to implement and provide staffing to comply with Proposition 499 is estimated at $866,673. These are based on today's cost without consideration and does not include potential inflation in future years. You may ask, how will the city pay for this new bureaucratic government office? There are only two options. The $1 million in ongoing expenditures will increase the city's budget and will result in either a tax increase to Glendale residents or reductions to existing essential services like police, fire, and parks. I, for one, will not be forced by outside interests and organized labor from California to raise taxes or cut essential services within the city I love. Glendale voters should also be aware that since the initiative uses the following definition to define an event center as a publicly or privately owned structure in the city of more than 20,000 square feet that is used for public performances. This will include any sporting events, including high school events, business meetings, concert halls, stadiums, sports arenas, coliseums, and convention centers. Additionally, it will regulate certain movie theaters, temporary hospitality structures greater than 20,000 square feet that may be utilized during the Super Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, college football playoff, NCAA Final Four, and other special events. Why on earth would City Council or local residents be supporting a proposition that would cause our elected officials to raise taxes on our residents or cut essential services like police and fire? This measure is also designed to harm local businesses that refuse to unionize.
I'm going to have to shut you down, Diane.
Okay. The city of Glendale does not support Proposition 499. And let's protect our Glendale jobs and refuse to allow others to California our Glendale. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just a reminder in the future, we have a timer up there, and it's hard when you're doing your thing. When the light flash, the red light, that means stop. So anyway, there being no further business before the council tonight, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. If there's no objection from this council, we're adjourned.